Hello, my horror-loving dudes. I'm KillJoy Jake, and today we have a bunch of updates on upcoming horror projects. If it's The Last of Us, maybe it's the Exorcist remake, or also a movie based on the Backrooms. Let's get into all of these wonderful updates.
Well, sometimes that is better.
So getting into our first update, talking a little bit about Knock at the Cabin, the latest feature from director M. Night Shyamalan. Here in the United States, Knock at the Cabin opened in the #1 spot on the charts, scaring up 14 million in 3,643 theaters from Thursday night through Sunday night. Worldwide, Knock at the Cabin opened to over $21 million this past weekend. Obviously not the best opening weekend M. Night Shyamalan has ever had for a film, but still pretty decent and still a big win for horror. Even though I wasn't a big fan of the film, it's always a win when an original horror movie like this does well at the box office. Check out my review of the latest Shyamalan feature all the way up here. That's all I really wanted to say about that, so let's get into our real first update here. The Last of Us Episode 5 premiering this Friday, opposed to the Sunday release date that it's usually been getting. Although the latest episodes of The Last of Us have been dropping every Sunday for the past couple of weeks, the latest episode, Episode 5, will drop this Friday in order to not compete for viewership with the Super Bowl, which is the biggest event in America if you're not from here. I'm just watching for the commercials this year though, because we got ourselves a Scream 6 ad running this time around. Very exciting stuff. But episode 5 of The Last of Us will be available to watch on HBO Max this Friday, February 10th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And following this week, we'll be back to our normal schedule of Sunday uploads. So you'll get episode 5 this Friday, and then all the way into next Sunday, that's when episode 6 will premiere. I finally started covering the show where I talked about episode 4 last night. I was blown away by episode 3 and genuinely asked myself, why am I not covering this? This is so good. So make sure to check out my review of episode 4 as well as future review videos where I talk all about this awesome show. Oh my god, this is such a good adaptation. I cannot stress it enough when I say this may be the best video game adaptation ever. Not that the Sonic movies were that much competition. Getting into an update on the Exorcist remake coming from the same team behind the latest Halloween trilogy. Production is back underway after an unfortunate health incident that happened with Leslie Odom Jr., but everything's back to normal. We're getting back on track with this puppy and it's still set to release this October. But in the meantime, we just got ourselves some big casting news, with Olivia Markham joining the cast of the film. Olivia Markham is a young newcomer who has recently appeared in the stage production of Matilda the Musical, starring as Matilda. Her role in the upcoming Exorcist film is under wraps at this moment, but if I had to guess, I would guess she's playing a Reagan-esque character, very similar to Linda Blair's child character from the original 1973 film. I don't know how I feel about this, because if they're just trying to recreate the same movie again, but here in 2023, I'm gonna be kind of disappointed. A big concern I have about the new Exorcist remake is that they're going to just throw the same format that they did with like the Halloween trilogy at this same franchise, which is not the same even in the slightest. The Exorcist works better as a standalone. I mean, to me, it's the equivalent of making a sequel to something like Hereditary or Midsommar, which genuinely does not need a sequel. What can this new Exorcist movie do that a bunch of possession films over the years have already done is my question. They gotta find a way to reinvent this story, because if they just remake it and tell the exact same story again, but here in 2023, I'm gonna be pretty bored. I probably wouldn't have done a whole segment on this little story, but because it's the casting of this little girl, it makes me think that they're just trying to have like another Reagan in the movie, who once again gets possessed by Pazuzu. Same old happens. If I could say one thing to David Gordon Green, it's that my criticisms for Halloween Ends, I feel like are the things that he should apply to the Halloween franchise. Where I don't think Halloween needed a drastic, ridiculous change, I do think the Exorcist series does. Halloween Ends had this opportunity to already do something different, and they kind of blew that shot in my opinion. They could have actually ended a storyline for once instead of just keeping it going, or Michael Myers is still alive, whatever. They've always done that in the past. Halloween Ends had the opportunity to do that, and they instead decided to focus on a random new character out of absolutely nowhere. Even though I feel that way about Halloween Ends, I hope that David Gordon Green takes the same approach to rebooting this franchise by kind of giving us something completely different, because if they just give us same old here with The Exorcist, it's not going to work the same way it did with Halloween 2018. Oddly enough, I kind of hope that David Gordon Green approaches the Exorcist franchise the same way he did with Halloween Ends, by doing something completely different, totally out there, not something we're expecting. Because even though Halloween Ends failed, I will give it credit for being ambitious. With The Exorcist, it has to. Like, it has to, or it's just gonna be compared to another possession film and we're gonna be like, okay, I've seen this before. I'm really rooting for this team too, because I really do love David Gordon Green. I think Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills are some of the best sequels in that franchise. Y'all can fight me on that. I'm rooting for the guy and the entire team here. I really want this to be something good. So I hope that they've given that same approach to this franchise and they're gonna do something different with it. And if you have no faith in possession movies moving forward, I don't blame you. I mean, a lot of them are pretty much the same. Do you remember remember that movie that came out like at the end of last year or whatever? I can't even remember the name of it. I literally have a poster of it on my wall and I can't remember the name of it. It was just same old, same old. It was just like, I've seen this a million times, man. You got to do something different. Like the Cleansing Hour. The Cleansing Hour, I'll have to spoil it to tell you what it did differently, which I won't do. But the Cleansing Hour does something so different with the ending. I can't tell you what that is, but give me something like that, David Gordon Green. You can do it, man. I believe in you. I'm trying to stay optimistic with this movie, but there's a lot of things that have me worried about it. If it's the rushed production or the casting that feels very similar to the original. So here's hoping that we get something new with The Exorcist come this October. And finally, the biggest story of this video, without a doubt, we are finally getting ourselves a Backrooms movie. A24, Atomic Monster, Churnin Entertainment, and 21 Laps Entertainment are joining forces to adapt Kane Parsons' massively viral YouTube horror universe, The Backrooms. Churnin Entertainment will co-finance the film alongside A24. Sean Levy, Dan Cohen, and Dan Levin are producing for 21 Laps Entertainment. Lucas Ford from 21 Laps brought the project into the company. And shockingly, James Wan and Michael Clear are producing for Wan's Atomic Monster, with Judson Scott executive producing and Elena Gaslel overseeing for the company. Between this and Raka Raka recently signing contracts with A24, this is huge for young indie creators, especially for Kane Parsons here, who is only 17 years old getting a movie deal. Although the film's plot details are being kept under wraps, the press release details say Kane Parsons is a 17-year-old director and VFX artist. His viral found footage YouTube series, The Backrooms, has amassed nearly 100 million views. Parsons will direct the film over his summer vacation. Over his summer vacation? This guy is so set for life. Kane, if you're out there watching this, man, congratulations, dude. This is so awesome. Man's just got to finish up his biology homework before he goes and directs a horror movie for A24. Oh my God. All the respect for that guy. Holy shit. Go subscribe to his channel. Go check out those videos before the movie comes out. I've been watching Kane's short Backrooms videos for a while now, and a lot of them are phenomenal. So I can't wait to see what they do with a full-length feature film like this, especially under A24 and James Wan's Atomic Monster. Like, oh my God, this is actually gonna be really good. And can I just say, I respect A24's versatility so much. I mean, so much. Not just a little bit, so much. For the longest time, A24 had been known for the studio that pumped out elevated horror. Ooh, my farts don't stink. Oh my God, I love those kind of movies so much. While I am very guilty of loving those movies a lot, I also appreciate that A24 stepped out of their comfort zone this past year by making a bunch of slasher films, with Bodies, 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 X, and Pearl coming out last year being some of their biggest releases. I mean, obviously Everything Everywhere All at Once was their biggest release last year, which is a pretty amazing movie if you have not seen it. Oh my God. Not horror, but still phenomenal. But now A24 is making some big moves by giving chances to smaller creators from YouTube, including Raka Raka, who I've been a fan of since childhood, and Kane Parsons here, who's doing the Backrooms. This is so exciting because it kind of gives me hope in a lot of ways. A lot of us smaller filmmakers who are trying to get our projects off the ground, it's like, oh, wow, maybe I have a chance at A24 now. This is pretty cool. Got my fingers crossed, hoping I can sell a movie to them one day. Fingers crossed, baby. But for right now, I am very happy for Raka Raka with their Talk to Me movie that hopefully comes out sometime soon, as well as Kane Parsons here, who is going to make a killer Backrooms movie. If it's anything like his YouTube shorts, I am there for it day one, man. I cannot wait for this first big venture into liminal horror, but what do you all think about this? Leave me something about it in the comments below based on what you were the most excited about from this video. Thank you all so much for watching this little update video. Don't forget to like it and subscribe for more horror movie updates in the future. If you subscribe, I can feed my kitties and also myself so I'm not starving to death. Please consider supporting me on Patreon by clicking that link in the description below, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.